It's all right, Johnny. This is the one. So there we go. That is called Shimmer, and basically what happens after that is it goes into the second half of the tune, which is called Shimmer. I don't know if that's going to be the final name of the tune. And Shimmer is, it's kind of like Shimmer's like this sort of variation of it. It's very, very kind of, it's almost like a resolution of all the ness of that, and it's at halftime, and it does this like the point of Shimmer is to get to Shimmer basically. But I'm not going to play you that right now because we're just working on the first half. This did actually initially was one piece of music, and I decided to split them apart. But what I'm going to have to do is when I get to the point where I've got this one kind of sounding like it needs to, I'm going to have to kind of use some of the chains and the you know, the things that I've used in this one in the other one, because there's a lot of the same sounds in there. You know, it strikes me, I couldn't work out whether to split them apart or keep them together, and just for simplicity's sake, I decided to split them apart, but I know I've given myself a bit of a headache in the future. Anyway, what I need to do now, after having listened to that, is identify what the problems are, and there are many. I'm just for one that I know already. I'm going to put the problems in capitals. All right. So the piano part has a big mistake at the end of one playing. The piano. What was the other thing? Oh yeah, the piano part doesn't play the right version of in the final at the end. Right, so I just need to get those off. Those are just the silly mistakes. So now I'm thinking, I mean, really, with a track like this, it's messy. I mean, it's just really all over the place, and that's a good thing in a way, because it's kind of like it's meant to be sort of chaotic and like that. Oh yeah, that's it. That's another thing that's reminded me. The final synth pad thing doesn't take over enough. Yeah, the final synth pad line could go on. No, so what's the problem? So I was just about to, what happened there was I was just about to insert a solution, but I'm really training myself to always actually articulate the problem, because it's just a really powerful way of always focusing on the things that are finite, the things that you already know, rather than things that you don't know, which at this point in the process, I think is really, really helpful. Because when you focus on the things you don't know, you're opening your mind to the infinite. Yeah? So by focusing on the problems, I'm focusing on what I already know. Problems first. Hello, Sarah. Hello, Rob. Hello, Jace. Hello, Johnny. I'm glad you could join me for the listening of that. Did you like the start of that, where I had a countdown and then I started playing the track that we're going to work on? I thought that was quite a good idea. I was quite pleased with myself there. I've got some other upgrades to the start. It's kind of probably a bit better. It gives people a chance to join, particularly as I'm not kind of scheduling these things. Anyway, so this final synth pad line isn't developed or at all, and seems a little pointless. Right. So none of these things are mixed things at the moment. Oh no, that one's a mixed thing. I might drag that to the bottom of the list. All right. So, I'm glad. because then you know what you're gonna be listening to for the next however long as well. You might be like, no, I'm not gonna listen to that for the next however long it is, hour. Right, so um, I'm just going to brainstorm because I'm struggling having listened to that. It's all a bit distorted, and then this isn't a good thing to and messy. But I'm just going to write it down to get it out of my head because that was right. It's all a bit distorted and messy. Yeah, and the parts seem. Okay, so John is saying, where will the track be available to listen to when you're finished? That's that. Well, the parties. That's wrong. Yeah. So I mean, it's going to eventually be put out. But I'm basically watch this space, okay? Because I've got a few ideas about this sort of unusual ideas. Well, not unusual, but kind of different ideas about releasing music, and I haven't quite decided exactly how I'm going to do that. But what I put it this way, probably what I am going to do is start sharing earlier versions along the way through different methods. But my first step right now is just getting back into doing the live streaming of the creation of the music. So because it's all way too complicated if I don't do that. So the music will be available on normal places, but probably what will happen first is the music will be exclusively available somewhere else to people who want it. So basically watch this space. The parts seem to be separate. Yeah, let's call it. Most parts seem to be separate and not part of the same track. It's kind of like when I was listening to that, it's just that everything's just really split and really messy at the same time, which is weird. I think I might have overdone it on the summing or something. I'm not sure, or overdone like distortion, but oh yeah, there's bass pop when the bass pops when the hands in the air riff comes in. Hey Chris, good to see you on here. Well, I'm going to start zeroing in on some of the things. Right, so in terms of the beat, so bear in mind, I've listened to this once and I'm doing this from memory. It's not because I'm some kind of memory master, it's because you can do it too. You know, the belief that you have to keep on listening to the thing over and over again is simply a belief. And also, there's this thing called practice, which means that you can actually start to remember what you heard. And it's a really useful skill. Yeah? And it stops you from over listening to things too. In the beat, the tom parts aren't gluing. The bass, why did I do that? The bass, I'm not sure if this is a problem, but it might be. So I'm going to say it. The bass only comes in once. Yeah. The piano sound. No, so the piano part. So now I'm getting out of mixing things. I think that's enough for now. Those are the ones that spring to mind. So these I would call kind of problems that I can fix very easily. They don't need brainstorming really. Fix. I'm going to do those because that mistake has been in there for about 3 months. So I'm just going to do that. I mean, I suppose I could brainstorm 3 possibilities, but I'm not going to. Okay, copy over the earlier part with the changes. Ah, yes. No, Johnny's reminded me. Something. Whoop. The main the main break doesn't build enough. And that brings me to something else. I mean, bear in mind that if I'd have missed that, if I hadn't seen Johnny's comment, which reminded me of something, I would have noticed it anyway. So it doesn't matter if I don't remember and absolutely everything. So the main break doesn't build enough, and then also the modular synth effect keeps getting lost or being too loud. Right. Now what I'm going to do to keep this simple. So by the way, oh, what have I done? I didn't mean to do that. What basically this thing down here, this was me testing this. What are the problems thing? What are the problems kind of process that I'm doing now? Yeah, I did this in a queue in a pharmacy. If you've noticed that pharmacy queues are very, very long these days, and also not places that you want to spend too long being in under current conditions. But anyway, so I decided to test this thing, and I tried to think of all of the problems that I could. Yeah, so that's what this is over here. Anyway, so now let's zero in on the problems that I'm going to actually focus on in this session, because I can't do them all. Oops. Come on, come on, come on. Up you go. Up you go. I wish that maybe I need to send in a ticket to Trello. I wish you could add checklists at the top. Anyway, so I am actually going to do this because it's been doing my head in for way too long. Yep. And I'm going to do that because that's been doing my head in for way too long as well. Right. I'm not going to worry about that for now. That could be something that I do. Let's find out. I'm not going to do that for now. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Not going to worry about that for now. Yep. So some of these I'm noticing are kind of parts of the same problem. Yeah. So that isn't. So let's just brainstorm some possibilities there. Automate. Whoops. Automate volume on the synth pad. What I might do actually while I'm doing this is I might just play it out of Luna for you so that you can actually listen to what we're talking about here. For the latecomers, although it's hard to say it's late when I'm not telling you when it starts. Very naughty. You need to be hanging out on YouTube all the time to make sure that you don't miss this very important live stream. Hang on a minute, start from the beginning. How about that? I've not sorted out my markets, have I? Yep. Oops. Yeah, let's just go from there. Begin. Let's call that begin. No, not being. Begin. Right. So Eric, yes, I am still splurging, or I am meant to be still splurging, and actually yesterday I decided, because I haven't been splurging, but it's very important that I do keep splurging for various different reasons. But yesterday I decided that I was going to just do some piano splurges, because that's very, very low bar. I can just do some piano improvisations. I'm going to do one of those every day. So if you don't see that splurge column filling up, yeah, over the next few days, somebody tell me off, okay? All right, let's go back here. Turn it down in my monitors. See, this is the great thing about brainstorming possibilities. And by the way, can you hear me okay when the music's playing? Let's try a crazy one. And automate adding into the number. Right, so there's 3 options. Okay, cool. I sorted out the levels, okay. Alright. Why does Synthefect keeps getting lost? Right, so this is definitely an automation thing. Automate volume. Automate sending to or delay. Great. That's a good balance. Automate sending to reverb and or delay. Oh, I just thought of another problem. Weird, crunchy synth. It's either too loud. One of these ones where it seems that I've already figured out how to sort that out, but I'm forcing myself to come up with a third option just because. Ooh. Remove it in certain sections. And use it as a tension holder. Oh, I've just thought of another one. Use chorus. Yeah, no, okay, so use the stereo field to create contrast between sections. main break doesn't build enough. Right, so this, I think, this one is going to be fixed by sorting out this one. Yeah, so I'm going to leave that there. Not going to worry about that for now. I think. Base plots on the hands in the air. Right, I think I've just got one other thing I'm going to focus on. Put this back down here. I think that's just a general thing that might be sorted out by me doing things. That's the blue one, which is probably these are the same. Okay, here we go. Where's it gone? What happened to it? Anyway, don't worry. It's part of the same. I've just seemed to have lost the. Yeah. What we want to do. What we want to do is we want to reduce the number of things that we have to do, and then we have to focus on. Otherwise, it just gets way too overwhelming. If I had a list like this, which is the one that I made in the pharmacy, it'd be like, procrastination. Right, so I'm just focusing on the ones that are kind of the higher order problems, and or also the really easy ones. These are the really easy ones that I haven't sorted out for ages. I'm just like sort them out. It annoys me every time. Okay. Open Right Belgium, which is another track that I'm working on, and try copy. Particularly the beat. What's the beat? Let's call it the beat chain. Right, so you just heard the track that we're working on. Actually, I'm gonna change this one because this is the beat doesn't seem glued. Let's just call it isn't glued. Basically, like what I'm suffering from in this piece of music is when I made it, I think I don't know what it was, but I was just kind of, it was a kitchen sink type track, which is like I've set myself up for all kinds of problems at this point. So I think there's lots of things from all kinds of different things, and it's just hard to put it all together. Okay. Okay, try SSL parallel compression on entire beat. Okay. So that's, I mean, I'm not sure I'll be able to do all of this today. But anyway, what I'm going to focus on, I think, really is the mixing stuff. Although I am going to sort out these bits now because, I mean, literally, it's been months. Right, so let's go. Let's just change this. There we go. Oh no, good. The piano is there. Right, great. Let's just get rid of some of these. What I really like about those piano parts is I get really ridiculous with the trills and the. It's a bit silly. You know, it kind of sounds like a very serious track, but that is just, it's like a joke. It's meant to be a musical joke. Maybe not a very good one, but it is. That's what it's meant to be. Actually, let's just save this. As the way that Luna works in terms of saving is really messing up my mind. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename this. I'm going to change how I do it actually, because you don't actually have saving in Luna other than saving copies of. So it just automatically saves, and it's got unlimited undo as well. So I mean, undo between sessions. So like even if I undid something last session, if I did something last session, I can actually go back and undo that, which is pretty science fiction. So what's the date? 4th of July. Ah, happy 4th of July. Although it won't be 4th of July for the people who that is relevant for. So, so you see, I basically saved a copy of that session. And then what I will do is at the end of this, I will save another copy of that session. So essentially, I'm saving what it was at the end of my session on that date somewhere else, but I'm actually working on the thing. Now, the downside of that in Luna is that everything is packaged. So that means I'm going to have a bunch of very large files. But while I'm in progress, I think that's okay. And I think that's actually, that's not a problem. So anyway. That has been bugging me for about 6 months, and I've just never got around to fixing it. Ugh. Because it's just too easy to fix. Oh, hang on a minute. How do I turn off Snap? Shift? No. What is it? I can't remember. There's a shortcut. What is it? That. Yes, I did it. There we go. Shift backslash. Right, okay. So Benoit's asking, do I ever use vocals in my tracks? Well, when I came back to making music, I actually did think about singing. So I actually took some singing lessons and stuff because it was almost like the slate was wiped clean, and I've always had a bit of a thing about being a singer. And I was like a choral scholar at Oxford University and stuff, so I can like that, you know, I can sing like that, and I was in operas and things like that. So I have been trained somewhat in singing, but so I started doing that, and I did all kinds of things like I started like writing lyrics and songs. But what I realized in sort of making that decision was that I wanted to really focus somewhere and become brilliant, like truly brilliant in an area. And I realized if I was to do the singing and this, then I wouldn't have the time to become as great as I wanted to be. So it was a difficult decision. I took the difficult decision to focus on purely instrumental music, but really what I'm attempting to do in my instrumental music is make them very song-like in a sense. But I don't mean song-like in terms of verses and choruses, but you'll hear in the music that I'm making, there's a lot of melody going on, and it's melody that kind of develops and changes, which is why it's kind of got a lot of kind of classicalness to it. Yeah, because and then that actually made sense to me because, my background is as a classical musician. I was in lots of. I mean, I've done not everything, so I've never played in a brass band, and my knowledge of country and western is actually my knowledge of country and western is much better now than it used to be, but I've never played it, right? So I've played in all kinds of different music, but a lot of my musical training was in classical. So it kind of makes sense for me to use classical because, while obviously there's a lot of classical vocal music, there's enormous amounts of great classical music that isn't vocal at all. So that's why. It's a very long explanation to a very short question. So no. I'm probably going to replay this anyway, but I'm just doing it to stop myself from doing my head in. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. What is it? Shift backslash. Oh, damn you, snap! Just turn you off there. Right. Hang on a minute, what am I doing? So is that anywhere else? I bet it is. There, right, okay, I'm just going to sort out this other one at the end. There it is. There seems to be a rogue note down there. Hey, little fellow, what are you doing down there? Naughty. Been hiding for months, haven't you? Have you? Oh no. So it's the end of the previous. I obviously copied it over from somewhere. I'm going to replay. I think I'm going to replay this whole piano part at some point in the future, but not now. That would be very dull for you to watch. What am I doing? Okay. Oh, I know what's going on. Okay, I'm going to leave that because yeah, all right, I'm going to write this down actually to remember it. This problem, so I've done this one. This problem here, yeah, I think is the same as, it's the same problem as, this is the interesting thing about focusing on the problems, is that you start noticing how these problems are interrelated and actually they're kind of different manifestations of the same problem, okay? So, and it could actually be another manifestation of that problem too. And this problem. Yeah, so these three problems, the piano part gets too repetitive, the final synth pad line isn't developed at all and seems a little pointless, the piano part doesn't play the right version at the end, are all manifestations of the same problem, I think. Because what happens, because it kind of all ends very abruptly here. Yeah. And I think what happens is that because you know the boom, 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 with the hands in the air, boom, 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 you know, part, syncopated thing, that basically has two halves. It's got the first half of it and then it kind of develops. Yeah. And basically when the piano comes in, what you want, I think what the music wants is for it to play the first half a few more times before it develops, which is what the piano's doing. Yeah. So basically, that's what I need to sort out, but I'm not going to do it now because I kind of know what I need to do, if you like, and that's something I'll sort out later. Let me just write this in though. Lengthen end of track and make the changes with straight piano change like one revolution later. Now the reason I'm writing that down isn't because I'll necessarily see it later, but I'm writing it down in there because now I've got it off my brain. Yeah, my brain isn't thinking about it. So that basically, this one here is at the end, and in order to do that properly, I'm going to need to do the changing of the length of the end. So I'm going to remove this. Yeah. So can you see how these problems are related? And by how writing them down, I'm getting very clear on what needs to be done now and what doesn't need to be done now. And how, if there's no point me doing that if I've got to do the other thing. So you're saving time by doing this, even though it seems like a long time to be like going, think of three options. Yeah, it's actually, you're saving time and you're getting much more clarity about what needs to be done and when. Oh, Iwi, I will take that one. Says he's getting a floating points vibe. I really would hesitate to put myself in the same bracket as that particular musical maven. I mean, well, he's like literally one of my favorite producers alive today. Floating Points, just absolute legend already for me. So thank you, but I don't believe you. Anyway, so I mean, I don't believe. It's not that I don't believe your opinion. What I mean is, I'm just being modest, so and not falsely modest. I'm obsessed with floating points. That's the only reason I say that. As you're probably hearing, in fact, but I'm doing like the poor man's floating points. Anyway, okay, shh, I'm going to shut up now. So let's do this. The bait isn't glued. So first of all, let's just have a listen. So I had this, what I thought was a very frustrating session on another track that I'm finishing called Right Beltram. And I was really having a big problem. It was one of those tracks where there was, you know, those things where there's multiple things at the bottom. Yeah, so there's a kick, and then there's this other kick, which is kind of a basic kick, so it kind of needs to be there. And then there's a bass line as well. And then you're like, it's too much, but you can't take any of it out, you know, that kind of thing, because they're all, and trying to actually get them to whoosh together. So I had this like really, really frustrating session of just trying to sort that out. And in the session, I thought I'd just, you know, I just not got anywhere. And I was very unsure. But I was using the principles of the automatic music machine in that I was kind of splurging it. I was splurging the solution by just trying stuff. But I ended up, you know, and I was like, right, I just need to export something. So I'm just going to export it as it is now. I'm not going to try, you know, any other things. I'm going to export it as it is now. And then I listened to it, you know, a day or a couple of days later. I was like, wow, that sounds great. I'm sure it's not as good as, you know, for instance, Floating Points, but for me, it's the best sounding that area that I can remember having done. So I'm just going to play it now, which is why I'm thinking about seeing what I did there, and I'm not sure I can copy it over because I'm using different things. I'm using different sounds. But I just want to see what I did, see if I can take a similar approach. I'm just going to show it to you now. While we open, I wish there was, what they need to do is put elevator music in while they open the session. There we go. Right. So I just play this. Hopefully this is right. There we go. It's still not quite right in that the bass isn't bassy enough, I don't think. It needs still a bit more heft. But anyway, it's close. So the beat, listen to that when it comes in. What's interesting, listening to that, is that I think I've got in the Shummer, I've got a I don't know where is it? I don't actually know. I don't know my hush supermassive. I've got a build up in the sort of high mids area. Listening to the differences between that, there's all this in Shummer, and there isn't in this. So that's something to bear in mind. So here is my chain. And I think I did actually save the presets. I just need to remember the order. So this is the bass rhythm. When I say bass rhythm, that means that not bass as in, how do I do that? Not bass as in, you know, instrument bass. And I've got this, so it goes Neve 1073, central tube, satin. Now did I save that? I did. Good. and then just the console one, which I don't think is doing very much. Nope. Okay. And then this is like a bass thing. This might not be so relevant. But what I might do is I don't think I saved these ones. Right, let's call it. Or did I? No, I didn't. Okay, so defam Reich Beltram oh, what I should have done actually is just, what do I do with it? Click that. And let's call it 1. Unfortunately, at the moment in Luna, you can't save. What am I doing? Wrong thing. There we go. Right. You can't save chains at this point, which is annoying, but you know it's worth it for the other things that you can do. Actually, what I should have done is go back to this and just copy. Let's copy that. Right. Presets. Let's call that. Yep, let's defam 2. Oh. It's the wrong thing again. I'll get there in the end. Don't worry. Right. And then this one. Save. That's it. 3. I think that's it on there. Because the other problem I have with this, because this is the bass. That's a very good question. Provoke asks, why is elevator music always bossa nova? I have no idea. Is this thing here, right? So let me just play you the things without the plugins on. In fact, let's go back to over here, and let me just do this. Right. So now, obviously, there's a big level change there. That's because I'm driving something quite hard, but I'll turn that down a bit. Just doesn't want to go down. Anyway, you'll get it. Can you hear how that's a lot flatter and not kind of moving? It's just very like that. Right. So I'm sorry. There's probably a way of doing this. Oh, hang on. Probably a way of doing. Hang on, I know what to do. Let's try that. Can you hear that's now moving and sort of interacting with each other and being part of the same thing? Yeah, while the various different things are also, you can hear the individual things, but they're part of the same thing. That's not what's happening in the Shami track. It's all just like stuff everywhere. And I just want to show you the difference between the summing and not the summing, okay? Just while you're here, right? So you need to be listening to it on headphones really for this, I think. So let's just take out, in fact what I'll do is I'll take out Luna from the out, right? Now there's going to be a level change because I've got it on low impedance. Yeah, but basically this is with the summing on the drum bus, and this is without. But just to make it clearer, I'm just going to, so low impedance, it does raise the level slightly, but also it creates more color, if you like. But let's just do it with the high impedance and see if you can hear the difference. Because there's not much of a level change on high impedance. Oh, that wasn't a good time to do it, sorry. Let's go from the, let me just cycle it around without the bass. In fact, let's just mute the bass, how about that? Oh, idiot. It's because I've got them grouped. There we go. Right. That's without. Can you hear how it kind of makes it, it sort of makes it flatter. It makes everything, like when it's out, it kind of, everything kind of pushes away from you. And when it's in, it's not that it's louder, it just kind of, things jump out somehow. I don't know how to describe it. And it's sort of, just like that. It's almost like it's sitting forward rather than sitting back. And it's kind of even more the case when you've got it on the low impedance. But you don't want to overdo it too much, is something I've noticed. Otherwise it just ends up sounding really E. Anyway, so David's asking a question about the preparation I did for getting things into Luna. Yeah, so I was quite lazy actually. I mean, reflecting on it now, I probably wanted to be a bit more careful. I basically just did an export. So I was going from Logic, so I just bounced all tracks as they were into audio, and then just took them, just copied them into Luna. What I probably wanted to have done was, doing the sort of making sure that all the gains are right and everything in Logic, and then exported that. But I was just like, oh, I'm just going to use the tracks as is. And then if there's ever a problem with the tracks, then I go back and get the MIDI, because it was just it was like there was so much faffing about that I could have done. I think if you want, I think there's because I was just looking for a bit of information on the UAD website, and I saw that is it one of the Fab DuPont Tales from the Switch videos. I think it might be his third Tales from the Switch or something. I seem to remember that it's either 2 or 3. Basically, he actually takes something from Pro Tools and puts it into Luna to mix it. So basically, the early Fab DuPont Tales from the Switch. Here, I'm sending people to other YouTube videos, right? May well give you, the best practice for doing it. I mean, I'm just quite lazy, and I've got this thing. I'm just going to use what I have, yeah, and then that's a new thing. I mean, if you were doing it for other people, and and it needed to be, a certain thing, then you might want to do something different. But really, all I did was just exported the files as they were in Logic, and put them into Luna. And if ever there's, a problem, then I go and get the MIDI. So here, see, this is new. This is MIDI because it was kind of an unusable sound file. But that's what I do. Okay, so in fact, what I might do actually is take a screenshot. Oh yeah, no, and that's the other thing I wanted to show you was the Braids Drums chain. So this is great because it basically what it's done. Actually, it's the wrong bit. Let's go back here. What it's done is it's put a really big attack on the front. So this has got a really, but I've got it on +4 speed. Yeah, so this is like even slow is quite fast. Yeah, but it's put, and it's a lot of, there's quite a lot of compression going on there. Yeah, and a very fast release. So it's put a big attack on the hat, and it's pulling back the end of the hat. Yeah, so it's going rather than yeah. So yeah, so hear how that's different. So it's the transient is like jumping out when it's on. Yeah, which really, really, really helps in this particular case because it was just very flat before. Yeah. So that's something I might use in Shummer, which is why I was thinking about it. Yeah. So I'm just going to save these two. It's so always interesting when you see what the bass preset that I started with, because the way I use plugins is that I will just start from a bass preset. I don't go from the ground up. I usually start from a bass preset, and then twiddle it, because I just find it's much quicker and much easier. Start with the ballpark. Yeah. Hang on, that's the wrong thing. That's Ravel piano. No, don't want to do that. There we go. I was going to say that. It was be weird starting with the piano, but maybe I did. Sometimes I do. There we go. Right. Oh no, I've already saved that. Okay, cool. And that one isn't going to be doing very much. Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a screenshot because these are the ones that are important. Actually, maybe this is important too. What did I do with the hi-hat? Oh no, actually the hi-hat isn't right. The second hi-hat isn't right in this yet, so I'll leave that one out. So okay, right, option. Drums. J. Now I've got no idea where that is, of course. Let's find it. There. Okie dokie. Also, just out of interest, what Studio did I use? Oh, great. I'll rename that. It's just right Beltram drums. It's not the bass rhythm because it's on loads of stuff. Because the other thing, you know, the purpose of one of the purposes of finishing music is to actually identify what it is you do, right? People quite often have this the wrong way around. They try and decide what to do in order to finish music, and like going on the principles of the automatic. What's going on? Yeah, on the principles of the automatic music machine, you finish music in order to decide what to do. Yeah, so it's exactly the other way around, because the finishing of the music gives you the information you require to know what to do. So if you take that kind of further, if you have something that has worked, yeah, then you go, right, so what did I do there? I need to remember that, or I need to save it. And it's not that I'm going to use exactly the same thing, because it won't work exactly, because these are different sounds. Yeah. But I'm kind of establishing for myself a methodology, if you like, or a bunch of techniques that I'm using, which A, will make my life easier going forward and much quicker going forward, but B, will also start to create a sound. It will start to sound, you know, even at this stage, it will start to sound like me. But this can only come by actually doing it, right? It's not the other way around. Like if you just get thousands of techniques kind of in a vacuum, you're not going to get anywhere, because you're never actually knowing what it is you're doing. You're just finding out what other people are doing. So, Rob's asking, have you bought Luna, or are you testing for them? No, I'm not testing for them. Luna is free for anybody who owns for Mac owners, because it's only on Mac, who owns a Apollo thingy, you know, interface. Although what isn't free is the summing, and also the Studer tape, but you do get oxide tape, which is a different type of tape, which is that one. So you get oxide tape for free, but you don't get the summing for free. So I actually did the demo of the summing, and I mean, it was like within about 10 minutes, and I was like, I've got to get this. So yeah, so the actual DAW itself is free, but the upgrades aren't. Yeah, so they've got some instruments as well, like the Moog, what's it called? I can't remember. Anyway, there's a Moog synth, soft synth. So no, I'm not, definitely not important enough to be testing for UAD. That's for sure. Okay. So let's focus on this. What's going on? I seem to have lost. Let's go here. No, where is it? That's here. Hang on. Oh, that's why I've lost it. There you go. Oh, this one. this is probably where I'm going to try. Let's put that at the bottom. Let's mute that. What was it? Where's my screenshot gone? And then I think it was Avalon. Just check. Yep. Boom. That. Okay, got some gain issues going on here. I don't think that's a problem. Yeah, cool. Oh, hang on. Turn that off. Oh, there we go. Let's just leave that flat for now. We might not need it. Okay. Right. Well, I'm going to have to do a bit of tweaking here. Right, too loud. Hang on a minute, it's not right. Still haven't quite figured out the gain staging thing. Okay. Let's try to... Let's try doing the same thing over here, something similar. Because they're kind of like left and rights. And I'm just going to take the EQ off, because we might not need it. I mean, probably need something, but probably wouldn't need it. Okay. Am I doing the right one here? Yes. What's going on? Oh no! How did I do that? Oh, darn. Hang on a minute, undo. There we go. Thought that wasn't making any difference. That means I've not changed that too, doesn't it? Oh, no, it's okay. Professional here. Right, get this up. Heartbeat. Okay, what's going on here? First of all, this doesn't seem to be right. What was it? Shift W. Yep, there we go. Heartbeat hat. It is on 5. Why is that not coming through there then? Okay, something weird going on with... Oh, I know why. Duh. Right. Now the only problem is, I'm not quite sure about that heartbeat hat. It's probably a bit loud actually. I think what I'm going to try and do with these two, right, because they are kind of nicely separated, so that the these two, is that they don't fit, to me they don't feel like they're part of the same beat somehow. So that they're kind of nicely separated, but they're not. That, you know, it's good, but it's also not good. And I don't want to mix down. That's the wrong one. Wrong shortcut. So what is it? Is it that? No, that. There we go. Do I want to sum it? I'll try both. Okay, so let's try beat Tom bus. So basically what I've done is I've automatically sent both of those, so now they're coming out of there. Actually, I need to send that to the mix bus. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn that down here. Okay. For the benefit of you guys, I might actually just turn this up a bit. Right. Might just take that out for now. Use the demo. It's funny, I thought I had it. Maybe I won't use that then, actually. No, I won't use that. Let's go back to this. Oh, hang on a minute. How do I go back to my thing? How do I get back to my thing? There, okay. No, I won't use that then. Let's use channel. Right, and is there a mix? I'm sure there isn't actually. There's not a mix. That's the benefit of the thing. I suppose what I could do is I could do it on a send. That's what I'll do. Right, so that wants to go to mix bus. No, no, it doesn't want to go to mix bus. Actually, that wants to go to drum bus that we're talking about. So that wants to go to drum bus. But they all want to go to drum bus. Bussing the bus. Yeah, and then I want to do it on a send. Right, so let's just turn off Q here. And I want to do it on a send. So I want to send that to the beat Tom bus. Yep. Uh-huh. Okay. Now that's taking it forward. That's not exactly what I was looking to do. So let's find something else. do a bit of this. Didn't have loop on. What's going on here? Oh no, it's this. I'm doing the wrong thing. Just solo that. So what was the original? Okay. Yeah. Right, so let's just broad it a bit. So we'll see how that goes. I'm going to leave that there. I might not have got it right, but it's done something. So done that. Oh, I might try that actually. Let's see what happens. Which way around? Actually, what happens if I do this? Kind of gets a bit thicker. So let's just try Saturn. I think I'm. I think I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it off. I think I've done enough faffing around. It was at a place, so I'm not going to do that. How do I get rid of it again? No, back here, I think. All right. So, in terms of this list, I have not really that. This is this one. So I haven't done that yet. Okay. This I think is going to make a big difference. Yeah. So I'm gonna work on this now, which is this modular part. So what it is I'll just solve it for you. It actually started out life as one part, but what I did was I separated the effects, and I did lots of knob twiddling, and I separated the effects of the part from the dry part. So it was in soft tube modular thingy. Oh, wait a minute, what's going on? Solo things. So here you can hear we've got so that's the effects. And that actually creates a lot of the sort of rises and falls in the track. And that's the dry part. Yeah. And over here in the main brake, it kind of really kicks into gear, and you kind of lose it because it's too loud. So I've got to automate this basically. You hear that? I'm turning it up. So basically, what needs to happen is that I need to do stuff with this modular part. So if you go back, because I think the problem that this track has, a lot of them could be solved by actually getting this right. So let's just hear it with a beat. Just do it right. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm First thing I'm going to do, I think, is I'm going to automate the modular part. I'm going to do a take of automating the modular part. God, this new mic is really makes my ears sore. I'm going to do a take of automating the volume of this modular part without the effects. I think I'm going to have to wear the headphones for this. And also I need to figure out how to actually automate in how to record automation in Luna, which should be interesting. Where is it? 10. So let's see if this is that has that remembered it? Oh yes, it has. Where? There. Look at that, all nicely laid out and yellowed. Brilliant. There we go. All right, fantastic. So I think we're good to go. Well, I mean, actually, let's just check the first. Let me just check this. Actually, I probably don't need to check it. Or maybe I do. I will. Let's just do it properly. Wow. That's now really, really loud for some reason. Why is that so bloody loud? Just turn it down a bit. I was like, why isn't that getting quiet? Alright. Okay. All my gain stagings all over the place, isn't it? Jesus. a minute. Hang on a minute. What happened there? Ugh. What an idiot. Yep. The old favourite, keeping latch on while you're changing things. Right. As I said, professional outfit we have here. Oh, I've done it again. Oh no. Let's just try this. Alright. I think that beat's sounding better, actually. Or at least it is through these headphones. Rob's saying, I have noticed a few of my tracks seem to mix into another track and sound odd. Have you done this before when you would just separate them to work on them separately? I don't quite understand the question, Rob. Sorry. And Monkey Lugs. I actually met you many years ago in Stiff Kitten. Wow. Do you know what? It's funny. I'm with my wife. I'm watching The Fall at the moment, which is set in Belfast. And it's bringing back memories of Stiff Kitten. To be sure. Oh, thank you, David. The track sounds very interesting. Most importantly, good. Thank you. A touch of Jeff Mills. Wow. Jeff Mills, breakbeat and sci-fi meets classical. Won't fit into any genre. Illustrates your point, making unique music. Well, that's certainly the intention. Whether it's any good or not, though, I'll leave that to others to decide. Right, so I'm doing this automation without... I'm going to record this automation without the effects, without the modular effects, which kind of really bring things to life. Yeah, so just bear that in mind as I'm doing it. Alright, so let's get this little baby up. Let's put the headphones on. In fact, let's just... I'm just going to pull my mic off for a second because it's really hurting my ears. In fact, let's go. Automation time. Turn that down. Getting nervous. Right, there it goes. So the reason this sounds really repetitive is that everything's happening in the effects, which is muted. Wow, that bass is loud. All right, I'm just going to stop that there for a second. I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to get that bass in. I don't know why it's so loud. Something's changed. Anyway. Where's the bass? Yeah. Oh, I know why. It's because I had it going somewhere else. Okay. Because like the automation, the level of the modular part at that point is kind of going to be dependent on the thing that comes in there, which is the bass. So I've got to make sure that's right. I think what I did was I moved the bass to a different bus and forgot to sort that out. So I'm going to come back to the modular part, and actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it off latch so I don't make the same mistake again next time. Yep. All right, and then I'm going to sort this out. All right, what's going on here? So as you can see, I am fairly chaotic in many ways in the way that I'm doing things. And one of the reasons that I'm finishing this album is in order to identify a kind of system or methodology that I use that avoids the problems that I'm running into now. So I'm going to come away from this session and go, so what went wrong? Not so much what went wrong in terms of the music, but what went wrong in terms of the order in which I was doing things and the things that I did wrong. And so, for instance, I don't think either I did a very bad job of it, but I don't think I sorted out the gain staging properly of each of these parts beforehand. So I'm kind of having to do it on the fly. But I think I remembered that I did, yeah. And I probably wouldn't have selected this track to live stream if I'd have known that I hadn't done it, yeah. So that's one thing. Yeah, but then then there's other things. It's actually make sure that I'm bussing the right things together, and so there's a kind of a step-by-step thing that I kind of am going to have to figure out for myself, which will avoid these problems. So now, oh my god, hang on a minute, it's not right. So that's more in, but now this one's out. So the only other thing I need to check before I continue with this automation on the modular part is whether any other of these later parts are really, really, really loud. I'm just going to do that now. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, something's been going. I think it's because I sent things to different places. So that's going out the main. That'll be why. No, there's not going to be enough effects on anything because I've just realized what I did. Oh, darn. Never mind, it's probably a good thing. Yep. Never mind. Yep, that's okay. Right, let's go back to this automation on the modular part. Volume automation, that is. Wow, that bass really does a woof at that point, doesn't it? Woof. Dun, dun, dun. Gotta sort that out. Anyway. Right, so that's without the effects. Now let's do the automation on the effects. Let's just get a good starting level. Alright, so what am I doing? What am I doing? Right, let's get this up and then that. Okay, what I might do actually is fade it up. Fade her up. Volume, I think it's this one. So that means I need to start here and go. Cheers, Sarah. Alright, I reckon I might do that again. I'm going to need to come up quicker at the start, or maybe it just needs to start a bit higher. Okay. That's the general idea, anyway. So just to give you a bit of what I was doing, I was thinking about as I was doing both of these automations here, and I mean I didn't get it all right because it was obviously it was a take, yeah. But it's the general idea. In fact, let's just do this. So I was thinking about the tension and release essentially, and also about what else is coming in and playing. Because this thing here, the modular effects, takes quite a lot of space in the mix. Why is it so quiet? This, yeah, takes quite a lot of space up in the mix. So sometimes you just want to pull it back. And so, for instance, here in this break, but what it does do, because it's going, you know, it's like doing stuff. Sometimes you want it to be louder because it kind of creates more tension, and sometimes you want to get it out of the way. So here I was really kind of pushing it loud, and then when the piano played something I would pull it back again, yeah. But it also kind of creates a kind of waves of you know, that kind of thing, and it kind of went a bit wrong here. I think I made it too loud. I got a bit too excited around here, but I'm not going to worry about it too much now. So essentially, that's why I was doing that. Now, the only other thing that I want to do is I also want to automate the send, right? Because I'm actually usually I'm sending this to a reverb. Okay, so I'm going to do that now. I think because let's just listen to the difference between when it's got reverb and when it hasn't, right? So this is the effect of the modular, yeah, that I'm sending to the reverb, not the actual modular part. So hear that? Yeah. Makes it kind of a bit more spooky, yeah. So I kind of want to do that too. I might not play it all the way through though. I think let's find. I don't know whether they're not. Does sends not get? Let's just try. Maybe they don't. Yeah, they do. There we go. Okay, cool. What I forgot to do was have anything else playing, so I don't know when things happen. Because that's basically why I'm automating things like this. So that's fine. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to widen it, because it kind of opens up that effect. I'm going to do that in the kind of bits where something's about to happen. Yeah. Alright. Oh no! No! Please don't save us. But I like that one too. Never mind, I'll do it again. Over here. I don't think that one's as good, but I don't care. I can always do it again. So the next one. Bit much so at the end. Anyway, I'm going to leave it in like that for now, because it's the general idea, and I can fiddle around with it later. And also, I can also, if I need to, I can turn down the output of that. All right, so it's just one other thing I'm going to do before I'm going to export this out. And let's just make sure that I've got the kind of effects at a vaguely okay level. Because this has been a very long session. Oh, by the way, when I say balance this out, this is obviously not finished. This is just a session. Oh yeah, and when I say effects, I mean the other effects, the effects on the piano and things like that, because I messed about with the bussing and that messed it up. So right, first of all, actually, before I do that, I might actually just do a bit on this piano part. It's sounding pretty minging at the moment. Okay. Take a bit of the no, it's already been taken out now. Yeah. Oh, and there's a bit of ooh on there, isn't there? That might work better. Just a little less of that. Got a bit of like tape going on in there to make it a bit more spooky. Okay. Okay, that. I don't know if that's going to be too thin now. Let's try it in context. Hang on a minute. What is going on here? All right. Capital Chambers. Ooh. Let's go with that. I might leave that off, actually. All right, cool. Let's leave it at that for now. Yeah, the only thing I need to do is turn down this a bit. thing I might do here is just get rid of a bit of the old bottom end off the reverb here. And maybe even a bit of the top end too. So you hear the difference there. Yeah. Just gives it, takes out all of that fog. But you get the same effect of the kind of building thing. Alright, let's just, so basically, coming back to my session thing. Done that. Done that. Done that. Haven't kind of done that. I think this is good now. I'm happy with that. And I don't know about, I'm not sure that if that's sort. And I'm not sure about that. But definitely I feel like, at this point anyway, some progress has been made in that some of those problems that I was feeling before, it just seems a bit more together and somehow less messy. Let's just listen to the two breaks and then I'm going to call it a day. Fine. Right. There's just one thing I'm going to sort out before I stop, because it's going to bug me. I just know it is. It's this woof on the start of this bass. If I can, anyway. It's these two. This. Alright, let's find the culprit first of all. It's going to be compression, I think. Hello? Why aren't you? Very weird. Helios is being not wanting to bypass. I know it is bypass. Why is that? Oh, I see. I found this is one of the things. Oh, what's that? I don't think I meant to do that. Undo. There we go. It's one of the things I find that I don't like about Luna is it's very hard to know what's bypassed and what isn't. Well, it is for me anyway. See? I mean, anyway, I think that's bypassed. Okay. All right. Gain staging needs to be done there. Let's actually do this at the same time. In fact, let's not. Let's find out what it was. I think it's this then. No, it must be the tape. Oh no, it's the compression. There must be compression on this. Coming out of here. What is it? Hay Street. There we are. 14. No, no compressor. Ah, it's the punch. There we go. There we go. Probably don't need that. I'll be alright. I can do it another way if I need to. Let's just check out the gain staging. Hang on a minute. Shh, not that one. Ah, see, that's why I did it. So I was getting a different sound. Right, let's go back. Let's go back. There we go. Right. So then let's just make sure this is right. Oh, is he out? There we are. Seems to come down. So there seems to be a bit of a problem here somewhere. So there. Oh, let's do it here. Yeah, it's fine. That's better. There we go. Might be able to work that out later. Right, so we're in context before I change putting that on again. I don't think we need it. It was getting a bit in the bass end, so I just took a bit of the release off the initial sound. I think that might have tightened it up a bit. Okay, now let's listen. Now the only problem with that slightly at the moment is that it feels like these two aren't the same thing. They're kind of apart. They're not like glued together enough. But I've got to stop. I've got to have a break because I'm starting to lose the plot. So so I'm not going to worry about that now. But that is definitely something to consider. Did I just move that by accident? Yeah. So just listen to this sound in context now. All right, that will do. That was a mammoth session. I don't usually like to go that long on a session, but oh dear, hang on a minute. In a sense, I got kind of distracted. What's going on there? Distracted by this, that, and the other, by another thing that needed to be fixed. But certainly, you know, in coming into this, the problem was that it was super messy and very kind of crunchy, and everything seemed to be very separated. And while that's still the case in certain areas, I'm feeling much better at this point anyway, without listening to it back in a couple of days' time, feeling much better about how that kind of rhythm area is sounding. So still a lot left to be done. So but that was definitely progress. So what I'm going to do now is I'm not going to do that. I'm going to export with the date. And I'm going to go and say hello to my beautiful family. And then I'm going to do some more. I probably won't stream again today. But you know, I've got a bunch of music to finish here. So yeah, I'll be working on that for the rest of the day. So have a great weekend. Onwards and upwards, and like, subscribe, click the bell if you want more of this, because I'm going to be finishing all this music over by the end of July. So if you're interested in knowing how I do that, make sure you do that thing, and I will see you soon. Onwards and upwards.